A couple of weeks ago, Airborne Kingdom was brought to my attention, but only now I finally found some time to check it out. And that's basically it. Usually in my openings I have a small story and explanation for why or how I got to the game that I'm about to review, but here there is not really a story or explanation to give. Somebody told me about it and I checked it out, that's it. But what was even more different than usual is that Airborne Kingdom was not available on Steam. Instead it was sold on the Epic Game Store. Now, last video I went in a whole sorta say rant about topics surrounding the game, but I will pass on that this time and keep it rather short. Personally, I have no trouble with the Epic Game Store, and I don't really understand why other people have. In fact, I encourage their presence in the game industry, as it finally forces Steam to get their stuff together. Though I'm still waiting for that moment that Steam gets its stuff together. Anyway, Airborne Kingdom looked like a fun little build game which I knew nothing about going into it. The gameplay and art style both looked interesting and I was quite eager to get into it when I finally got my chance. And right now I'm even more eager to tell you more about it. So without further ado, instead of diving, let's fly into Airborne Kingdom. Long ago, the land and its kingdoms were once connected through the Airborne Kingdom. However, the Airborne Kingdom mysteriously disappeared, which broke this connection between the kingdoms on the ground. It's now up to you to bring back hope to the land and reconnect the kingdoms after generations of isolation by building a new Airborne Kingdom. As you can imagine, a task like this comes with its fair share of difficult choices and challenges. However, Airborne Kingdom's strength is that everything is kept very basic and simple, and maybe for some too simple. All the things you need to do and know about the game are almost fully self-explained. The game's pacing is slow right from the start, thereby giving you a lot of time to learn the handful of mechanics this game offers. But ironically, for a game that is about building a city in the sky, it places the bar very low. There is not really a challenge in building your city and taking care of your citizens. Even in the rare case that you fail to take care of one of them, the consequences are not even that severe. Angry citizens might leave your city, which means you lose some workers, yet that loss is not enough to completely ruin your city or even affect your choices for the long term. On paper, Airborne Kingdom sounds daunting, yet it's probably one of the easiest build games to get into and that I have ever played. Yet the bit of difficulty this game offers is built up very slowly, but cleverly. Your city needs citizens to function and grow. They can be recruited from small villages and other kingdoms you find while traveling across the land. The more citizens you recruit, the more different variations of needs they start to demand. At the start they only want the basics, like food and water, but by the end of your playthrough they start to demand lighting, comfort and specific buildings. Now, I hear you think, if you keep the amount of citizens low, they will only keep asking for the basics and nothing else. Which is true, however that playstyle is not the most fun. In a normal playthrough, it's your goal to connect all the kingdoms. To connect a kingdom, you have to complete tasks for them. These tasks are nothing special and usually consist of you going to a place or repair something and then return back to the kingdom. But every time you complete one of these tasks, you are forced to accept more citizens into your city. This is the reason why the difficulty builds up slowly, but also why I think it's so clever. Through this manner, you are forced to expand and adapt your city constantly, yet it stays at a slow and manageable pace as you are in control when you complete one of these tasks. You can't wait forever, of course, and have to progress further at some point to reach the final goal. So in the end, difficulty will increase no matter what because you progress, but it's slow and subtle and can easily be adapted to. Though even with this noticeable yet nice way of increasing difficulty, the game stays simple and easy. Even the elements that you think should bring a challenge to the table are still easy to solve and are more or less just mild annoyances at best. For example, I expected that keeping my city afloat and balanced would play a key role in the game. When planning my city for the first time, I was very careful with placement and always tried to stay perfectly level. I was scared that my city would topple over or something, yet later I found out my city was never at risk of anything, which was a bit disappointing. What was even more disappointing was how simple bringing back balance to your city was. Some buildings generate lift, which you need to build more buildings in your city, yet these buildings also lift a part of your city upwards depending on where you place it. Therefore, these buildings should be placed in the most ideal location in your city so that it keeps everything leveled. Citizens will become unhappy when the city is noticeably tilted, but again, even when it's tilted, you don't need to fear that your city is going to break or lose balance and crash into the ground. And when your city is tilted, just build another building that creates lift on a spot that will bring your city back into balance. But what took away all the risk for your city was that these lift creating buildings or other essential buildings won't break down or get damaged by something. There are no weather hazards or problems that can cause your citizens to die or buildings to break. So there is no risks nor heavy consequences and all your problems are solved easily, which sounds like a problem, but it isn't, and I believed it was designed like this on purpose. Airborne Kingdom is not trying to be a difficult, harsh consequences, relentless build game. Everything you do is allowed to be done on your own pace and peace. Airborne Kingdom feels more like it was designed for you to unwind and relax while playing, and at the same time give you a sense of progression other build games offer, but in a smaller and easier accessed amount. Every bit of progression you make in a playthrough was very noticeable, as it still had some decent weight despite it being achieved very easily. In a sense, I would say that Airborne Kingdom as a build game succeeded at what a build game should do. Every time I booted up Airborne Kingdom, I drifted away, and before I knew it, 4 hours had passed. While the game is super easy, I still felt the need to play just a little longer so that my city would be a bit better, while at the same time enjoy the relaxing atmosphere just a little longer. Airborne Kingdom also played in on one of my weaknesses, which is a very noticeable, unique art style. It's in the style of how some artists in the 19th century envisioned the year 2000 would look like. You know, lots of wings, propellers and airships, you know, what we have these days. I don't know if the creators, the Wandering Band, used this as their inspiration, but it definitely reminded me a lot of it. I appreciate the unique art style and I liked it, though it did not leave an unforgettable impression on me. What did surprise me was the amount of details there were. Every building in the city felt like it was designed to contribute to it staying afloat and survive in the sky. Everywhere there were these propellers, balloons, wings or some other moving part showing how it helps the city itself. Even these lanterns had these cute little propellers on top of it. I know it was all cosmetic, as they would definitely not make a difference, but it looked great and contributed to the whole theme of the world. And speaking of the world, traveling and exploring it was good. It's not common to travel through a map with a whole flying city, and visually it just looked really cool. And the size of the map felt just right. There was enough to explore, and the 3 different biomes changed up the gameplay a little bit, which was nice. I also really liked the idea that you used planes to gather the resources from the ground. These planes became a vital element later in the game as well. Citizens that don't have a job are used for this task. Now, at the start of the game you got plenty of citizens to gather resources, as barely any of them have a job. But in later stages of the game you need more and more citizens to take on jobs, so keeping a balance in the workforce was key. It was again not difficult, but it was a fun little challenge to keep yourself busy with. It was also really cool to reach a new spot with resources and sending out all these planes. Like a swarm of locusts, they spread and consumed everything on the land. Overall, Airborne Kingdom is a very simple game. It will make you relax while at the same time gives you a small amount of satisfaction a build game should give you. Everything is self-explained and the things you need to know and learn are small, and with the slow pacing, there is no haste feeling to learn them. There are a lot of details in the game and its art style looks nice and is unique. It creates, together with the music, a really relaxing atmosphere that not many build games offer. It's a bit weird that I couldn't really find something to complain about or something that wasn't working for me. The game succeeds in what it tries to be. Yes, it was very simple and to a degree too simple, but it works in that simplicity. There's a part of me that wished that there was a higher difficulty with more story and options to do, however, that would ruin the aspect I liked the most about this game, which is its relaxing atmosphere. I will definitely return to this game from time to time for that relaxing atmosphere. Therefore, I found its price tag to be fair, even though I was done with the game in roughly 13 to 15 hours, which is short for a build game. The game doesn't offer more than its gameplay. It has a story, but it's very shallow to non-existing. So if you want to buy it, I would recommend thinking about how you're going to play this game in the long term. If you know you're not going to play it after you're done with it, then you might not want to buy it or wait for a discount. If you are looking for a difficult build game, then this is a hard pass for you. But if you know you are going to return to this game after completion, or you just want a game to unwind and relax at, then I say go for it. It's a fun, relaxing little game that you won't regret buying. And that concludes my review of Airborne Kingdom. I hope it was useful to you. If you already played this game, see this review as a discussion starter. You might agree or disagree with me and I would love to hear your thoughts on the game down below. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked this video, leave a like and consider subscribing. And with that all being said, I wish you a good day and until next time.